Hey everybody, welcome in. Welcome to the Vaults. I am Jake, your host here tonight, and it's been a little bit. So those of you that missed me last week, I apologize. Had some things come up, but we're back again this week, and we've got a few things to talk about and dive into. And I hope everybody's week is going well. Get a little bit of music going here. And anyway, so yeah, I hope everybody's week is going well. Mine is. We've got a bit of a hiatus in gaming on my end a little bit because of some of my group's issues coming up, personal things going on in their lives and so forth. But we'll hope to pick up next weekend. But in the meantime, I've got some things of my own I'm trying to accomplish this weekend. So I've started an online game using Foundry for Forbidden Lands, and I'm got a couple of players that have some technical issues. So we're going to try and get those knocked out so that we can have a full group next time. But that's oh, hey, Matt, welcome in. Welcome, Matt. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad to see you back. And yes, you're first. So yeah, I've been working on Foundry pretty hard actually, because I've got the Forbidden Lands thing, and then I'm also using it surprisingly very heavy for some solo stuff that I've been working on. I think I'm going to show you all that pretty soon one of these days. A couple of games that I've got loaded up in there, and it really makes the solo play go a little easier. So I'm pretty happy with the results of it, and it's a good tool for it. So, I've already showed you the Legend Keeper stuff I do. And whenever I use those two in tandem, the Foundry on one end, Legend Keeper on the other, man, it's a breeze. And I can really kind of get cranking with some solo stuff. So, tonight there's a couple of news things I wanted to touch on, and there's a couple little doodads that I picked up along the way I want to show you, and maybe talk a little bit about a couple of games that I've been working on. So anyway, and also if anybody has any topics of their own, I'd be glad to hear it and discuss it. So I guess without further ado, let's take a look. Let me get this up on my screen, and I'll show the first thing we were going to talk about. Hit the right buttons here. There we go. Okay, so I saw this just the other day. It came across my email, Wolfenstein, the role-playing game. And the first thing that I found pretty entertaining is somebody's comment on Facebook about this was, finally, we have every IP now has a role-playing game. And there, while funny, there is some truth to that, I think. So, those of us in the old school gaming is going to remember the Wolfenstein games that, the some of the first FPS type stuff. But it's entertaining to see that they're going to have a role-playing game. And I kind of laughed it off, but after I spent some time thinking about it, I thought, man, that may have some legs as a setting. And they talked down here. They said 1962, America is at a turning point. The Nazis' stranglehold is near absolute, and the land of the free remains crushed under the jackboot of tyranny. Despite the odds, despite the unremitting terror, hope is not lost. Inspired by William B.J. Blazkowicz and the brave actions of the Kreisau Circle, ordinary, decent folk are doing extraordinary things, standing up and turning against their oppressors, but they cannot survive alone. The resistance needs you. So looks like Machine Games and Bethesda is teaming up with Modifius to do this. Now I've seen that it's going to be my least favorite system, the 2D20. Well, it's not my least favorite. don't let me get ahead of myself here. It's not my least favorite, but I do prefer others over 2D20. But still, what got me to thinking about this is, you're going to be playing, these resistance fighters when pretty much everything is already lost. Because in the timeline, in the timeline and setting for Wolfenstein, you've got that it assumes Germany essentially won. So it's kind of like the man in the high castle a little bit from World War II. And, they kind of have hegemony over Europe and a lot of the United States and elsewhere and stuff like that. But it got me to thinking of another game that me and my friends played, like 20 something years ago, which was a 3rd edition D&D setting called Midnight. And it was a similar thought experiment, almost like talking about how if Sauron had won in Lord of the Rings. And so the setting was very bleak and very dire, and you're playing again resistance fighters against the evil hegemony war, the Wizard King and God King and stuff like that. So we played that campaign, I think, a good 3 years. I mean, it got a lot of traction. Everybody had a great time with it. And, while this has a different genre as far as, technology and timeline and all that, the principles behind it are kind of similar. So, I wonder if that has some legs to be something that would be exciting to play. Now, can I get over the hurdle of 2D20? Maybe not. I'm not sure, but I'd certainly be willing to, take a look at what they come out with. And if nothing else, maybe, just mine it for resources to use in another system. But yeah, that's Wolfenstein from Modiphius coming. I don't think they said when. No, they just said sign up. It doesn't say anything about the Kickstarter or if they're just releasing it as a game or not. But regardless, keep an eye on that if that's something interesting to you. Hey, Jim. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about, let me bring that up. Yeah, so this is something that I saw some discussion about on X earlier this week, and this is from Sandy Peterson, famous from Call of Cthulhu, is an old school fellow that is one of the major writers behind it, and he's been very prolific from Chaosium and stuff. But he says, one of the worst trends in tabletop role-playing is for people to torpedo a game because it's what my character would do. Friend, we are playing a cooperative game and not doing interpretive dance. Ruining a game for 6 or more people so you can do some weak sauce self-actualization in your head does not make you a desirable play companion. This trend is not new. I remember people being jerks for this exact same reason, clear back in the 70s. Yes, I understand there are times when a player character acting like a jackass actually enhances the game. In that case, do the math. Ensure you're the exception, not the prick. So, content aside, as soon as I read this, it just made me wonder what in the world happened to him in a game that made him just pop off like this. It must have been something special, because he's a veteran out there. He's not a newbie in the gaming scene. So it must have been something pretty egregious to really set him off like this. But, he's not wrong. I mean, we've all played with the kind of people that, they essentially want to flash their ego by doing something completely outside of the structure and flow of the game, against the better interest of the party or even their own character, simply because they declare that it's what their character would do, which, Whether it is or not, it's irrelevant. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You have a social contract at the table, and first and foremost in that social contract is everybody that is playing needs to have a good time. And the first thing you should ask yourself is, what am I about to do? Is what I'm about to do going to make it more fun for everybody or less fun for everybody? And, if it is strongly in one direction like that, then, maybe rethink what you're doing, because, like Sandy said, it doesn't make you a desirable play companion. But I just found this entertaining because, he's run a lot of games at conventions and things like that, and I'm sure he's seen a little bit of everything. So to see him pop off like this, I wished he would have given a little bit more insight into what caused it. But I think several people, you may or may not be familiar. There's another channel called Seth Gorkowski, and he has done a lot of videos on the social contract and what makes good players and bad players and good GMs and bad GMs, and he's shared a lot of stories of his own, and I can kind of see this kind of going along one of those lines of this was something so bad that it just kind of tweaked him up good. But anyway, I just thought I would share that. I found it entertaining, and it while spicy, it's also a very accurate insight and true in a lot of ways. So anyway, let's see here. Okay, so I think I'm going to fire up the other camera and let you guys take a look at what I had come across here recently as a couple of gaming tools that I'm enjoying. So let me get this camera set up and we will get going. There we go. Okay, so I mentioned a little bit ago that I have been playing a solo game. It's called Tales of Argosa, and it is a D20 game that I found, and it's really captured my attention and interest. But part of that game is they have some solo tools. It's not necessary. It's Oracle tools, and you can use these at the table with other players. You can use them playing solo. It really doesn't matter. I mean, they're really kind of good regardless. So I don't want to go through what I found. And so these are what in the book they call consult the bones. So you've got some dice here, and the intention for these dice is that you use these to answer yes and no questions. So if a player says, is this chest trapped? Then, if you want to add a little chaos into your game, then you can consult the bones rather than just decide yourself. Now, as a GM, long-standing GM, I practically lived on keeping percentile dice around, regardless of what I'm playing, just for those kind of things. I would just set a percentage chance in my head and roll the dice. But this is a little bit more, interesting and tactile way to do it. So what you have here is you have two of the Oracle dice, and on these dice they have yes symbols and they have no symbols. And these are the weaker dice here. So these are, I think they call them the fate dice. And then this one is the die of judgment, and it also has a yes symbol and it has a no symbol. So when you roll these together, you are asking a question, and you're asking, is something true, or is it very likely true, or is it unlikely true? So for instance, let's use our trap example, right? So we're saying something like, is the chest trapped? And I, as the GM, would say that, maybe yes or no. It's kind of equally one way or the other. Then you roll these three dice, and we got two no's and a yes, okay? So the judgment die here, it acts as a yes or no, but it also breaks ties. But in this case, we have 2 no's from the fate dice, so the judgment die is disregarded, and that essentially means that you have a canceled no, and it's just a regular no. The chest is not trapped, right? So roll it again. 2 yeses. So this would mean that this is a very much yes. So it could be trapped and trapped really well, right? Because you got 2 yes results. Now, if you get, let's see if I can roll it naturally here. No, well, that's even worse. But okay, so I'll just face them up here. So if you get this, you have a disagreement on the fate dice. So the judgment dice always it breaks the tie. So that would end up being a yes answer to your question, right? Okay, so now let's say that you change it to where the question that you want to weight it, right? So is the trap chest? And you want to say, as the GM, likely it's not going to be trapped, okay? So then the only way to override that is to get 2 uncanceled yeses, okay? So there's a no, so it's not trapped. Oh, there we go. So we have at least 2 uncanceled yeses. So even though it is the question was a likely no, that's overridden that in the chest is trapped. Okay, so this is a great way to answer questions. A yes/no question, and it can give you a very much yes answer like this one. So not only are there 2 uncanceled yeses here, you have a third one. So even though your question was that the chest was likely not trapped, oh, it very much is, and empowered in the trap as well. So then you have another dice that you can throw into the mix. Okay, so this is the fortune dice, and it has results on 4 of the 6 sides. 2 sides show the sun symbol, and 2 sides show a skull symbol. So you can roll these with these dice together to give you a little bit of extra information on the roll, or you can hold it off and only add this whenever you as a GM think it might be something relevant to the situation. So if we roll our dice here, then we come up with a yes and no. Remember, the judgment dice always breaks, it always wins. So it would cancel out the no to a yes. So the answer is yes, the chest is trapped, but you have a sun. So that's a boon. So that means it may be trapped, but maybe you find a clue that would help you disarm it. Or a clue that might help you identify that the trap is there, right? Or if you rolled the Bane on it, then yes, the trap is the chest is trapped, but also there's something obscuring the trap that makes it even harder to detect. Or you can come up with anything, some kind of either boon or bane, depending on what you rolled here. You can change the question to say maybe, are there bandits waiting around the next bend as we're traveling down the road? And if you end up getting a boon on the roll, even if the dice come up yes, then maybe there's clues to them. There's tracks nearby that indicate them hiding in the forest nearby or something like that. It's a great way to roll a quick oracle for any kind of question you might pose that you don't just want to decide yourself as a GM. It's a way to introduce a little chaos, a little uncertainty into the game. And even what I've noticed playing solo is it's a good way to surprise you. Even if you're the GM of the game, sometimes it's kind of cool to be surprised, right? And when you do this, then it's a way to accomplish that. So anyway, these are the Consult the Bones dice, and it is something that from the Tales of Argosa game, but you can order these off the Game Crafter, or you could probably make your own, whatever. But anyway, pretty cool tool, right? So the next one is also from Tales of Argosa, and it's the Oracle cards. Now there's tons of Oracle cards out there at this point that do different things, but I like these because they're fairly straightforward, right? They're not too terribly complicated. So let me see if I can angle these and get them close enough to show you. So yeah, there we go. And then angle it right so you can see it well in the camera. Okay. So on these cards, you have several things that are indicated. So on the corners, you have different things. So you have on the top left is a noun, a verb, an adjective, and a mood. Okay. So you're supposed to draw 2 of these at a time. So let me just I'll just draw them off the top. So we have the guardian and the serpent. Okay. So again, 2 nouns, they're laboring or swaying. Their adjectives are unafraid and poison, and the moods they bring are opportunity and fear. So, if you're needing some adjectives to describe something, or you're wanting to know what something is doing, you can draw these cards and say, it's laboring or swaying, and then, imaginatively figure that out in the situation. So you have some words there to give you some clues, but then you also have a couple of things. Like if you want to know what time of day it is, then you can look for the sun or moon symbols. Both of these cards have the darkening sun, which means that it's the second part of the day. So like in afternoon, right? So let's see. There's a light sun. So that's the AM part of the day. So there's a moon sign, the darkening moon. So that's the latter half of the night. So the wee hours of the morning. And there's a light moon. So that's the midnight, the late evening midnight time. So it's a cool way if you, just wanting to know what time of day something might occur, or just what time of day it is currently, you can draw and see what it is. Now, the last thing that they offer is a directional, okay? So on this one, you'll see that you've got a little arrow pointing to the bottom left. So each one of these cards has a different directional. So if you're doing something that you want to know where, like a hand grenade, where it deviates, and you can use the directional to find that out. Say that you want to know where the bad guy patrol is, if there's reinforcements coming to a battle that you're already fighting, what direction are they coming into the map from? It's just a great way to quickly look, pull a card and find out that information. So I think this is a standard deck of 52. I can't remember exactly how many you get, but you get some nice old school artwork here. And you get a good Oracle tool at the same time. So I don't know, pretty cool. I like it. Now the cards, the dice, I said you get it from Game Crafter. The cards, however, were print on demand from Drive-Thru RPG. So if you like those, then you can grab them there. It's just the Tales of Argosa Oracle deck, and they're Consult the Bones here. So anyway, a couple of little cool tools. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was something I have been excited to get into quite a bit. Now, I'm not going to go through this in super detail, but this Oathhammer game is pretty cool. And this is the one, I can't remember if I talked about it before, but it has very much Warhammer vibes to it, but it is a dice pool system. But it's not a dice pool like the Free League games. So you have different colored dice in this one, but the dice color it affects your chance to hit. So almost any attributes at their base level will roll what's called white dice that will succeed on 4 up. And then certain talents and abilities will change those to red dice, which succeed on 3 up. And then you have a black dice that succeeds on 2 up. and then you're going against certain difficulty values. I think the average difficulty is 3 or 4, I can't remember. So you have to have 3 or 4 successes to succeed at a task. And also the 6s explode in this system. So if you roll a 6, then you get to add another dice to your pool and roll it, and it has a potential to keep exploding. But this is an interesting game in the fact that it has races and it has classes, but like some of the newer games out there, the classes don't lock you in for the whole show. Once you choose your class, then after you start playing, you're kind of open to take it in whatever direction you want. Now, here's one of the classes, and this is one I flipped right to it. This is one I was wanting to highlight. So for instance, you have might, agility, and all these attributes, right? And they have a number rating. So it could be, say your attribute is a 2, then you roll 2 dice. Same thing with the skill. If you have a skill of 2 in something, so like on this mage, if you have academics of 2 ranks like that, then you're going to roll 2 dice and you'll add it to your intelligence. So if your intelligence is 2 and your academics is 2, then you're going to roll 4 dice on the check. Then each class has a list of special traits here. You select one of them whenever you start the game, and then you can use XP to buy more of them as you go along. But the cool thing here is of course the mage gets spells, right? But it has an ability from the start called Magic Bolt. So it allows you to cast a magic bolt, like a magic missile. And I love that because, everybody's going to waste one of their first spells on magic missile anyway. So why not just give it to the mage right out of the box? You don't have to waste any of your spells on it. So, I love that. But you have some interesting classes, Knight and Delver and the Champion and Berserker and several others. And like I said, I'm not going to do a full review here. I just kind of wanted to touch on it briefly. But the thing that I wanted to highlight here, and I think this is extremely cool, is it has a system for domains. So, and unlike, there's a lot of games that have domains, right? Don't get me wrong. But you get to start doing this right out of the box at the beginning of the game. You don't have to wait for 9th level. You don't have to wait until you get crowned the king of the world. You can start playing it immediately, and your group can begin leading armies and exploring the territory and everything like that. So it comes, let's see, I can't remember if the map is in here or if it is only in the separate PDF, but it is very much set up to do hex crawling, right? And so it comes with a map, a really nice map, and a good little setting. The map's not too big, so you can there's an end in sight, I guess is what I'm saying. So you can do the hex crawl, you can expand your domain. There's a key here. So in the exploration system here, you have the map, and then you have territory features. So it has, even though you have a map, it also is calling out specific hexes, and it gives you some adventure hooks all over the map, and it explains the regions. You can look at the setting here, and it explains the regions of the map. So you have a game out of the box that is not terribly complicated. It's not just bogged down in tons of lore. So you can get the idea of what you're playing very quickly, and you can get an idea of the lay of the land, and you dive right into the domain politics. It's got a faction system to use. It's got a mass combat with units that you can raise and purchase and command. It's got a full dungeon delving system too, to explore some of the hex features. So it's a full featured game. It is very tight. The rules are super tight. And me and a couple of my friends are going to start diving into this pretty soon and kicking the tires on it. So once I do that, I'm probably going to come back and do a review I wanted to wait until I had a chance to play this before I did the review, simply because I wanted to be able to give this the attention it deserves. So anyway, this is Oathhammer, and you'll be hearing more about this pretty soon. So, and I think that's what I had. Did anybody have anything else on your end, guys? I know it's a short one tonight, but I just kind of wanted to get out there and show you what I've been working on, and what I picked up here recently, and some of the tools I've been using. I think I'm going to dive in next time and show you my setup for Tales of Argosa that I'm running solo. So I'm going to do that next time probably, and give you a deep dive on my solo setup for that, because that game has really captured me like no other solo game has, and I've been having a great time with it. And I think I've got some good stories worth sharing there. So anyway, that's going to be it for me tonight, and I hope everybody had a good time, and we'll see you on the next go around. Good night.